Hello everyone, welcome to this afternoon's webinar on CyberFirst and CyberFirst Schools. My name is Tim Wilson, I'm your host today, and I'm also delighted to welcome Glenn and Patrick, who I will introduce shortly. So a little bit about me. I'm one of a team of CAS community outreach managers operating throughout the country. I'm responsible for managing the CAS Communities of Practice programme across the Midlands and also a large part of the Southwest. And we do this as part of the National Centre for Computing Education as well. So this webinar is the latest part of the CAS Virtual Showcase. We're into day 7 now, and it's been part of our 2-week extravaganza of over 50 webinars designed to support the CAS community. Glenn and Patrick are from CyberFirst, which is a pivotal part of the UK government's national cybersecurity programme, and they will shortly introduce what they're up to. Before I hand over to Patrick, a few bits of housekeeping. During this session, if you have questions for Glenn and Patrick, please use the question window on the right-hand side of your screen to ask questions. All attendees are in listen-only mode, so the questions tab is your means of communicating with us. The top of the window on your control panel has an orange rectangle. This can be expanded or collapsed, and this is where you will also find your questions and questions tab and any handouts. You will find, if you are using social media, in particular Twitter, the hashtag for this event and for all of our showcase events is CAS Virtual 20. So please do send through comments and positive tweets, and we'll be delighted to read them. I think this is going to be a really fun and informative session. So without further ado, I will hand over to Patrick first. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Hopefully that's working. Can you see everything, Tim?
Yeah, I can see your slide deck. Hopefully it will all transition fine. So go right ahead.
Right, here we go. So my name's Patrick. Obviously I'm special, so I don't have a surname. I'm sure you can work that out. I'm the technical lead for CyberFirst. What does that mean? It means that I concentrate on learning outcomes for students, as well as the delivery style, and that delivery style is really, really important. So I spend a lot of time looking at that. Right, okay, so a little bit about me, background. I've been roughly somewhere near Cheltenham for 11 years. I've had a variety of technical roles, and whilst I could tell you what they all were and what I did, I'd probably have to kill you, so I won't. But it kind of encapsulates hunting people on the internet for national security reasons. And of course, that's legal and proportionate and justified, as well as responding to cyber attacks within our incident management team. But for the last 5 years plus, I've had a very schools outreach or academia outreach focus, promoting CyberFirst. If you're unaware of what CyberFirst is, it's pretty much started within GCHQ and the Ncce, so the National Cybersecurity Centre, although we do work with Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sport, DCMS, who run Cyber Discovery, which I'll talk to you later about. I've spoken at CAS national events, regional events. I've done Big Bang, Cheltenham Science Festival. I've done kind of teacher events at kind of a union conference, as well as other type of stuff. And I've even run a CyberFirst course, a 1-week residential course in Nottingham, just for teachers. So I really have some skin in the game on trying to find a way of promoting this rather awkward, difficult subject of cybersecurity and making it align with the national curriculum, or trying to get students engaged and enthusiastic about it. And part of that is I really need computer science teachers to be kind of on board and with it, because we would like more students to study computer science and go on and come into the industry as technologists, as cyberists, as everything in between. I'm also represented on the DSP, which is the Digital Skills Partnership, which is an industry, government, charity, and a kind of scheme or partnership to really promote digital outcomes, digital skills, digital careers within the school environment. We're going to be running a big pilot down in the Southwest in Taunton to see if we can get schools to become digital schools, to kind of embrace the whole digital thing, so that lots of opportunities with the Careers and Enterprise Company, with the LEPs, with DSPs themselves, and all of the industry within that can maybe kind of turbocharge how digital is done in school and maybe find a template to do it all around the country. So let's do these slides. Right, they're not transitioning. Let's see, it's always a tricky bit when you do new technology. Right, there we go, they are working. Maybe I just need to press the mouse a little harder. So what I'm going to talk to you today about, well, CyberFirst is a kind of face-to-face delivery platform. We have real courses in real places with real trainers, and now we can't. So we've had to go virtual, and I'm going to talk to you about what all that means. We have a girls competition, which is a flagship thing that we do for year 8 girls, and I'm going to talk to you about that. You get double me. Oh, the slides are now transitioning slightly ahead of sequence. There must be some heavy delay on them. And then Glenn is going to cover off the whole concept of a CyberFirst school, how you get your school branded. I intend to do about 10 minutes on the virtual CyberFirst, 10 minutes on the girls comp. Glenn will do the same on the schools, and then that should leave us a good amount of time for everything to go wrong or questions and answers. Right, see if I can get these slides to go. There we go, really is a hard mouse grip. Right, okay, so National Cybersecurity Centre, GCHQ, this is CyberFirst. So we are providing opportunities. So as you can probably see there, we have something for just about every single year group between year 8 and year 12, and then things for people to do beyond year 13. We have to operate extracurricular. This isn't something that we do in conjunction with the Department for Education. Maybe over time they will warm to us and decide to incorporate this kind of stuff into mainstream education, but that hasn't happened yet. We are ambitious to do that, would love to do that, love to support teachers in the doing of that, but we're not there yet. The curriculum is the curriculum, and it shall stay. Right, okay, so the first one on there, adventurers and trailblazers. So if I talk about these as a, those slides really do want to go. If I talk to these about a, as we do it in the real world, they are kind of half-day kind of showcase events for the whole concept of digital being aligned with different things that you can do. It's not digital and computer science as one link, it's digital and geography, which is pretty much data science. It's digital and history, which is pretty much provenance of sources, uncovering fake news, that kind of stuff. You know, digital and maths, well, that's programming and logic. So we're trying to showcase the link between different things that you can do, creative things, collaborative things, team working things, solo things, in that kind of trailblazers and adventurers for kind of year 8s and year 9s. We do 3 activities in each one, and we're just trying to get them excited by what's coming, the 4th industrial revolution, kind of opportunities in artificial intelligence, in quantum, in robotics, in automation. You know, the list goes on. So how do we bring it to the forefront of their mind and maybe set them up a little bit for cyber if we can? But it's very agnostic of what they want to do. It's just to get them excited and enthused by maybe what they can do with digital rather than those kind of stereotypes. The girls competition sits there at year 8, but I'm going to talk a lot more about that in a little while, so I'll just leave that be for the time being. And then we get to Defenders. Now, Defenders is the first of our kind of 1-week residential courses. We normally take a university during the summer holidays when they're underpopulated with students. We book the accommodation, we book some rooms, and we run a cybersecurity course. It's very much focused on how to protect yourselves, but showing the students kind of real-time skills that they can do to protect their own devices. So we don't do any programming, we don't do any stuff with Raspberry Pis, we don't do anything with robotics. It's all very much kind of all the stuff that you would generally do within a browser or within networking kit to kind of make better decisions on your passwords, on the way you connect to VPNs if you do, how you secure your accounts, do you browse the internet as admin, all these kind of things. You know, where does the dark web fit in? Where does Kali Linux come into this? How do you do this stuff safely? Where's the Computer Misuse Act? It's very hands-on. It's very kind of instructor-led in terms of the instructors there to answer questions, but they normally present a subject, give over as much knowledge as they need to get you going, and then it's very hands-on. So not at all like school, but we don't have tests, we don't have exams. We don't really have a curriculum in some ways, so we have that luxury of just allowing kids to maybe choose from a technology buffet. You know, we provide all the things you can maybe do, and they can choose the things that they find interesting. We're not bothered if they like all of it or just some of it, but we want them to try some stuff and find something maybe that they want to do more. And then hopefully, because it is aimed at the end of year 10, we want them to consider technology and technology qualifications post 16. So that's why it's sitting there, because in year 11, they're going to make those choices. So that was our last chance. The same kind of applies to advanced. It's for year 12s. It's our last chance to kind of influence the decisions they make after they finish year 13, when they go out into the world or go to college or do an apprenticeship or something like that. So that course is very much about deep dive on 4 main areas of cyber, kind of cryptography, open source intelligence, forensics, and ethical hacking or pen testing. So we give them a real experience of what that's like, so that maybe when they make those choices, it's a bit more informed. And then sitting above all of this, we have a bursary scheme or an undergraduate development scheme, as well as a degree apprenticeship, which you can come to Cheltenham and get a full degree in cybersecurity whilst we pay you, doing on-the-job experience within an intelligence community. And then Glenn is going to cover off CyberFirst Schools, but that's pretty much our roadmap, kind of what we do. Here are kind of the numbers involved, and this is when we've had to go virtual. So rather than those face-to-face university, oops, wow, you're going straight to the feedback. It really does want to do it on its own. So 1,700 places this year. So it's a kind of combination of WebEx and then a cloud-based virtual classroom that they can do all the activities on. So when they need a network, they've got access to that. They can use all of the powerful tools within a safe environment. And then when we want them to go researching, they can use their own kit and their own internet, but they can chat and be organized and have access to trainers. We take our 1-week course and we make it 2 weeks long, but half a day each, because we don't want to kill people with being online all the time. And as you can see there, we got quite a healthy amount of applications, but we are always looking for, in all of our courses, whether it be face-to-face or virtual, is a 50-50 split of boys and girls. So the 3,000 application normally reflects more boys apply than girls, but at the time of delivery, we normally go 50-50, and it is pretty much first come, first served. So there's no preferential treatment or streamlining or rationing, all that kind of stuff. As you can see, last year we did slightly less courses, but it's also a lot more expensive, because we are paying for everything. These are all free. So even if we do the accommodation and the course tuition and the evening activities and the building of that kind of relationships within those courses, that costs a few pounds. So this is a significant thing that we do. And we just about managed to get half and half boy girl, but as you can see there, 44-56 split. And then that's a slight improvement on the year before. So as I'm sure you know, it's quite difficult to get that gender balance. But this kind of face-to-face delivery is kind of the best way that we can do it in the environment. We couldn't rewrite the courses. We didn't have time to adapt. So we're using what we've got and really trying to make it as good as possible. So here's the feedback that we got on our first course. So this was advanced for the year 12s. The slides, again, progressing at their own happy pace, just to make me really awkward. As you can see, they really enjoyed it. So even though they're sitting online for half a day, they're doing technical stuff. It's got some cloud, it's got some video chat, so the internet connectivity can be quite tricky. It's still going all right. So if you're at all nervous in recommending that your students have a go at this kind of stuff, then that seems to be some kind of reassurance that it's going quite well. Cyber Discovery is DCMS's offer. So this was a 4-year, I will get used to these slides one of these days. So kind of a 4-year offer that was going to take a bunch of students and offer them a gamified environment in a cybersecurity context. It was going to offer opportunities to go to camps. It's going to offer opportunities to do training. So that's been opened up again. So any student that's previously had access to Cyber Discovery has been automatically enrolled back onto it, so they can do it again for year 4. And CyberStar Assess is also open now. They've changed it from last year. It's not quite so hard, not quite so JavaScript driven. So I would again recommend any students that you know to have a go, see if they can get into Assess, get through that, and then in September the whole program opens again. Okay, so as you can see there, about 70,000 students have gone through in the last 3 years. Now, just about on time, although the slides, as ever, want to go at their own pace. The girls' competition. So I'll just change my notes. get going on this. So Sian would normally do this. She runs the girls competition for the Ncce, but I'm stepping in for her today. So why does an intelligence agency have a girls competition? Don't you have better things to be doing, like improving the UK's broadband and helping the government secure their Zoom calls or make decisions on 5G? Well, we've got a long-term ambition. One, we want the kind of general population to be better at cyber, to make the UK the best place in the world to do cyber and be online, whether at work, play, or just shopping, or perhaps in video calls like this one. And that means people have better passwords, better authentication, just use stuff better, not falling for those phishing attacks, not falling for all of those scams. So how do we achieve that? By having a diverse security team who's building that technology, writing that software, implementing, as well as a population that have the basics. So I don't need to tell you as teachers of computer science or part of the CAS community, but we lose 95% of girls when they get to choose their GCSEs. There are many reasons why they don't choose computer science. Sometimes it's not an option, sometimes it's a timetable issue, and sometimes perhaps it's an entire lack of enthusiasm for maybe where the subject might take them, or they don't understand the context around which it can be used in the real world. Or the stereotypes are also maybe rather off-putting for them. So how do we counter that? How do we use the budget that we have to try and get more female students thinking about computer science, thinking about the concepts of cyber and themselves? And that's the girls' competition. So it's kind of inclusive by design, teachers problem solving in a collaborative manner. We've got teams of 4 friends that they get to choose. They don't all have to be computer scientists. They could be from any skill set, mathsy ones, communicative ones, organizing ones. It doesn't really matter, because that build of a team, if they all pull together, they can really get some pretty good stuff done. They don't need any fancy kit. They don't need a teacher to support them. They don't need any homework or pre-preparation. I mean, it can all help, but it's not a requirement. We really are aiming to start at a no knowledge or no prior knowledge basis, and then take them through with basic challenges, introduce core concepts, and then kick on and develop, pretty much teaching them to learn as they go along. So we get people from all over the cyber teams in GCHQ and the technical teams and the Ncce, and they write puzzles and challenges for the girls. And then we also get people in from industry and from academia and from our CyberFirst kind of undergraduate community and our alumni from those that have got into the workforce, and we let them write challenges, and so that the girls can get an experience of what's going on in the real world, real skills, real uses of technology in real world contexts. So it's really exciting. The girls really enjoy it, and it can really be, in some cases, life-changing. In schools where there's take up of the competition, especially let's say when a whole year group is enrolled, or a high proportion of a year group get to do it, or have seen an assembly, then they can really see a link to GCSE computer science uptake, because those girls have friends. They'll go into the classroom not just as the only girl or one of the only girls, but they've seen other people enjoy the subject, and that gives them confidence to perhaps select that subject at GCSE, which is really what we're aiming at. So it's kind of debunking that whole stereotype problem. And I'm sure you're familiar with the stereotype, maybe somebody on their own in a hoodie in the dark, hunched over a laptop, with geek tendencies. So if we let them try it, and they let them try it in a fun manner, we let them try lots of different things and lots of different styles and lots of different ways to solve the problems, maybe they see technology, computer science, cyber in a whole different context. So it's a counter narrative to that they might see in the media. So actual slides. So the girls' competition was running for 4 years. The first year we ran it, we aimed it a little bit later in the year groups, so around year 10, year 11. And anecdotally, we kind of recognized that some of the girls said to us, if we'd known computer science and cyber was this exciting, we would have studied it. So we made that brave decision to kick back and to move it to year 8 for that last chance. Teachers are always telling us, year 8 sometimes it's too late. Year 7 is a bit of an issue, so we've had to compromise on year 8. But at least it's before the GCSE choices, which is why it's there. As I said before, it's developed to inspire the girls to take up that computer science, as well as see cybersecurity as a profession, and that no prior knowledge is pretty much key. So here we have a very informative picture of a student at one of our events, and it came to an advanced event. So what we've seen is from those courses that we ran in 2016 and the event, try and reclaim the screen. And the event that we did back then, they've now gone on, have done as many CyberFirst courses as they can, as well as then gone on to our bursary and an apprenticeship. So we have graduates of that first year now working within the Cheltenham environment. As the 2017 offer was year 8, they're not quite old enough to have seen that, but we are seeing girls turning up on the CyberFirst courses and doing our CyberFirst stuff from the girls' competition. So they're enjoying it, they're having a good time, and they're wanting to do more, which is pretty much what we're after. So what does it look like? So all we need from you really as teachers is to register your school, and we make this as easy for you as we possibly can, in that all of the data is pre-populated, and you just choose a postcode or some detail of your school or the name, and it should all just come up. You'll put in an email address. If your email address has the domain of the school and it's something that we recognize, .ac, .uk, that kind of stuff, you're automatically through. If your school has its own internet and mail domain, then of course we're not going to be able to pre-populate it with that .ac, .uk, and we'll do a manual check. But we need to know that every school qualifies and is eligible, so we have that check. But once they're registered and the teams are formed, and as a teacher you've entered some basic details on the girls, set up their passwords, that's pretty much it for you, unless you want to have a look, see what they're doing when the gameplay is on. As I said before, it is all browser based. Everything should be done in the browser, so we do aim it to be that inclusive, so they shouldn't really need any fancy kit. And we've had a team that's won. They organized themselves, the teacher registered them, never saw them again. Let's see if we can get that slide back. There we go. And they won the whole competition as a team of 3, just doing it from home, organizing themselves of an evening. Some people have slumber parties and sleepovers so they can have a go. There's all kinds of different ways. You know, they sit there on maybe a social media platform, talking to each other about what they're doing, organizing themselves and getting it done. There are 3 phases to it. So after that registration, and I'll give you all the dates in a second, there's a qualifying round, which is 10 days where all of our stuff is available online for everyone to have a go at, to see how they get on. There are hints within there. There are lots of different levels of challenge, and they all have a go. It's available for all the regional and home nations. And what we do is we have semi-finals now, which is a physical location somewhere within your region that we bring a number of physical locations per region, normally sponsored by industry. So kind of Microsoft may do one, or Tesco's might do one, or university might do one, which are all examples from this year. And we run a competition to be that regional champion, so champion of the Southwest, champion of London, champion of Wales and Scotland, etc. And those form the grand final. So those kind of regional champions and 2 wildcard teams then face it off as 10 teams in the grand final. This year it was in Wales, in Cardiff. Year before was in Edinburgh, and prior to that we were at Old Trafford in Manchester, as well as in Lancaster House in London. So that was a very posh, very gold event. So there's 4 different categories of questions. So we break it all down into 4 different things they can choose at any point to start on. So cryptography, if they're really into that kind of encoding and stuff. There's kind of logic encoding, which is the programming type stuff, and can they work it out type stuff. Networking, and then cybersecurity, that whole catch-all of stuff that we can put in there. So they can move between those categories, choose kind of from beginner, intermediate, and expert within those. They can do whatever they want. There's always something on offer unless they've done it all. So it really does allow freedom of approach. If they're really, really confident, they can go into the harder stuff because they might have seen it before, or maybe they've got some help from a peer group, or they can start at the very beginning and work themselves up. So we're really hoping that they learn how to learn within that platform. And it really can be kind of magic. But I probably would say that. So this year we had just under 12,000 girls having a go, which is, for a niche group of year 8s who want to do 10 days of stuff in technology, pretty impressive. So just under 3,000 teams, and as it says there, that grand final was in Cardiff. I will try and play this video for you. It's not going to work just like that, so I'm going to try it just here. Let's see if this works from the beginning.
Castle was amazing. It was beautiful. It was a total surprise. We had no idea it was happening. I'd never experienced anything like that before. The dinner was amazing and the banquet hall was so beautiful. It was a kind of once in a lifetime experience.
Well, we believe that you need the broadest mix of minds to help us tackle the cyber threats that we're facing today and in the future. And this competition is all about building that diverse talent pool so that we can make the UK the safest place to live and work online.
CyberFirst is cool, eye-opening, exhilarating, amazing.
I see it in my school that there's not as many girls that take up GCSE computer science. So for us, it was really important to try and encourage more girls to take the subject.
For me, in the grand final, I liked how we had to work as a team. In the climbing wall, you had to try and find the fastest way to climb up a wall. My favourite challenges were the cybercrime related ones.
It's great to see the energy in the room, the excitement and the real interest in trying to solve the problems. You can just see them getting their teeth into the problem and just doing everything they can to try and solve it, and that's really inspiring.
The final has been challenging,
nerve-wracking,
exciting,
intense.
I think the CyberFirst competition is one of the easiest competitions to get involved in. It was so easy to set the kids up and then they kind of just ran with it themselves.
Anyone who's thinking of taking part in this, I would say that it's an amazing experience. It really improves your team working skills and your puzzle solving skills.
It started to make me think a lot about the careers in cyber. I'd really like to go into cybersecurity, definitely with the police force.
It's something I'm very interested in and I'd never considered before.
Winning was amazing. It was mind-blowing. It was unbelievable.
We've won a trip to Downing Street.
And we each won a laptop. And a trophy. And medals.
Right, so there you go. Hopefully very enthused girls. So registration opens 30th of November 2020. We had to move that around a few times, so I think that's now the date. That's when the teachers begin to create their teams, register their schools. That online round will start in, oops, these slides really do like catching me out. I'll be back in 1 second. There we go. The online round is 25th of January to 3rd of February. There's regional semi-finals, March 2021, and then the grand final in an undisclosed location is on the 25th and 26th of April. And that's where we normally host them, somewhere really glitzy, host the teacher to come along too. Big meal, big set piece, and then they get to normally compete in a really, really amazing environment. There's some feedback, says how great it is, how much they love it. Probably don't need to read too much of it, but I will now put on to Glenn, who, using the word advance, will tell me, in theory, to advance a slide, and I'll try and make it all work. Okay, Glenn, over to you.
Hi, Patrick. I'm just wondering if you want to answer some of the questions that come up.
All right, okay.
Would you like me to? I'll put them to you, Patrick.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Cool. Just put my camera back on just to show that I'm alive as well. Cool. First question.
Yeah, carry on.
I teach at first person. I teach at a British international school in Dubai. A mixture of nationalities at my school. Can any student enter, or do they have to be a British passport holder?
So the only international schools that we can allow to compete are those like British Forces. So pretty much a British operation to a British curriculum. We haven't got the ability currently, unless it's a British overseas territory, Gibraltar and the like, to allow international schools to compete. It must be pretty much a UK-based school or a UK-based institution, I'm sorry to say.
Great, thank you. Next person. We have done this for a few years, I think referring to the competition, but never got anyone through to a semi-final. Just curious as to what kinds of scores semi-finalists tend to get. My girls always like to know how well they do compared to other schools.
Okay, we're building a whole new platform. So most of the time of lockdown has been a real concentration on building that platform so we can provide much better MI data, so that we can build much more intuitive platform, and we should then be able to increase the amount of semi-finals we have, so the chances of getting to one of those regional heats should be much higher. I'm really hoping that we'll be able to provide that kind of school by school information as best as possible. But we've made the decision not to publish the leaderboard during the competition so as to not disincentivize some students, as well as allow some schools that are having a first go to compete and potentially be selected. That helps.
Great. Yeah, one final question before I hand over. Oh, two questions. One's just come through. It'll be very quick. Next question: how can we apply for the girls' competition as a school? Can we not register before the date as it shows 30th of November on the website? Also, how can we support students before the actual competition?
So the best way of supporting students is to get someone to do a talk, maybe do an assembly, let them kind of hear a bit about cyber technology, that kind of stuff, kind of get them enthusiastic to learn more. So maybe somebody from the industry, especially a female speaker, that can be really, really great, kind of get them enthused and then let them go. As for support, kind of encourage the teams to have a go, encourage them to try, but they are pretty much supposed to be able to do it independently. I know some teachers do timetable it, but it's not necessary. Run lunchtime clubs or give them access at lunchtimes or makes things available after school. That can all help. We're trying to find a way of making lists that we can then send out push notifications to remind teachers that registration is open, or deadlines, or the how. But we've been restricted by our website. As I say, we have a whole new website being built, although obviously during lockdown, some of the work on that has gone a bit behind schedule. But the whole platform, we really, really hope should allow us to do much more interaction with teachers so that we can do that very thing you describe of reminders and notifications to do stuff. But the registration of the school is normally when it's open, just put in the details of the school and that's it, done. Okay, is there one more, did you say?
No,
I think we'll push on to Glenn, because we've got about 10 minutes left, including questions. So Glenn, over to you.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Glenn, as it says. I'm responsible for the CyberFirst Schools program within Ncce. So next slide, please, Patrick. Okay, so literally today we're coming to the end of our trial phase. So this is where basically in Gloucestershire and the whole of Wales, we have been running an application process where schools can apply for, can we go back slide, Patrick?
Yeah, it just likes to surprise me. Are you back?
Cool. And apply for a bronze, silver, or gold standard. Let's say today's the deadline. We are only trialing in Gloucestershire and Wales at the moment. The next step then will be to go to look at probably a regional expansion for the remainder of this year, and we're looking to go probably up into the north of England. Basically, this is something that schools can apply for. What we're trying to do is recognise computing excellence and cybersecurity excellence in schools. Although Ncce are running this trial, this scheme, we're not part of the assessment panel. We've got an independent panel made up of academics, people from the industry, and some other government departments. Okay, next slide, please. So the benefits for the schools in applying. So what we've done is we've taken some ideas that came from a project that we ran for 2 years in Gloucestershire, things that worked really well. We worked with teachers across the whole of Gloucestershire. Again, backup slide. And we took out the things that they cared most about, and we're going to roll them out nationally. That's the idea. So basically looking at how we can recognise excellence and support excellence in computer science related activities that tie into the Ofsted framework, obviously, which is the main thing that UK schools are rated against, and Gatsby, which is obviously a careers framework the schools work. We're hoping that the benefits to schools in applying, it will help them in their like an ever competitive market. Obviously, it's a badge of excellence. We're expecting schools who apply for bronze to be working to the silver, to be working to the gold. We are not just looking for schools to do this on their own. Ncce and a range of its CyberFirst industry partners, the idea being that the schools will work with Ncce and the CyberFirst industry partners to build up the inspirations, the aspirations of children, activities running with schools, and investment in schools by industry. At the same time, there's something that's just come across from the US called Ncce, and there's a new chapter being called Ncce UK. If you click on that link, you'll see it's all about developing a cyber educational ecosystem with 3 or 4 UK universities taking the plunge and copying what they've done in the United States of America. Obviously, we'll be using the CyberFirst Schools to help promote our CyberFirst activities, but we're also looking at developing inter-school CyberFirst competitions that obviously those that have applied can take part in. We have a resource portal, and we would be looking for schools to provide resources to it, but also share the resources that we've already got up there. And we would allow the schools to have help from our Ncce I100 team. So these are members of various large companies and small companies across the UK whose job it is to connect schools with industry. And obviously this will be focused on the cybersecurity career field, although we do have some stuff that reaches into the sort of the more STEM side of things. Next slide, please. Up one.
It does just want to do what it wants.
Okay, so this slide just shows you the sort of the high-level requirements we're looking. So for a school to be able to apply for a bronze, silver, or gold, we're looking for support from the senior management. So we find a lot of schools only have 1 or 2 computer science teachers, and what we're looking is for the school's senior leadership team to sign up to supporting those computer science teachers to grow computer science within the school. As part of that, we expect some sort of cybersecurity education strategy to be developed by the school. We want them obviously to be offering computer science at the various levels, Key Stage 3, 4, or 5. Obviously, if it's only a sixth form college or a college, so long as they are offering it for their year groups and are engaging with schools lower down through outreach, we're happy for them to apply. We are recognising that teachers are provided with CPD opportunities and expect the schools to make those available in the computer science cybersecurity arena, and obviously things like the Ncce programme can play into that. We're looking for schools to be doing activities in computing and cybersecurity. We will support them working with industry to do that. If they're already doing it, all the better. We're expecting the secondary schools to be engaged with other primary schools and reaching out and supporting the delivery of computer science in the primary schools. We do expect other secondary schools and colleges to be working together. This is predominantly at the gold standard, and it's something that we've seen work very successfully in Gloucestershire, where schools have got together and created joint school activities. And then obviously, being the CyberFirst team, we want to recognise schools that are actually participating and promoting the full range of our CyberFirst activities. And as you can see there's the link for you to go and find out more about what is going to be closing at the end of today, but is our application process purely for Gloucestershire and Wales currently, to be rolled out further in September. Okay, next slide, please, Patrick. So for 2 years, we've done something purely in Gloucestershire. Obviously, Ncce, a large part of Ncce is based at GCHQ in Gloucestershire. And one of the things is we've developed various concepts, and we want to continue to run them in Gloucestershire and then roll these out nationally. So these are the key bits that the teachers over the 2 years have said have made a difference to the number of students selecting computer science at GCSE, going on to A-level, and then going on to university or apprenticeships or careers in cybersecurity. So we're basically using a whole suite of our industry partners to provide an increase in inspirational input. One of our teachers quite often quotes, "You cannot be what you cannot see." So this is all about the industry companies basically highlighting the career paths that they've taken as they've got there, the roles that they undertake, what the exciting work they do, the day-to-day stuff, and making sure the students in the schools know all about it. And they can do that in lots of different ways. That could be just going in to talk to them, or it could be the company actually hosts students coming into them, or provide interesting, exciting activities that are aimed at the various year groups, but highlight the sort of work that gets done in the industry. There's been a huge amount of work being done on increasing the career and learning path aspirations against the Gatsby benchmarks. That's been around work experience, but it's also been showing students what they need to do to gain those careers. We've had companies who have e-mentored students, and not just in cybersecurity and computer science related topics. They've e-mentored them across the range, from just general pastoral well-being to helping them do their EPQs, to just general support and advice. And that has been something that obviously with blended learning moving forward, probably for the next year due to COVID, we're looking to do more and more of that. We've had companies going in running clubs. So some schools have been very lucky where a company has signed up to run a club after school for 1 day a week for a couple of hours, and they pick very interesting topics like Internet of Things, robotics, ethical hacking, and we've seen clubs go from 10 kids to 70 kids in school when industry have got involved and made it a lot more exciting. We've also seen a wealth of resources being developed jointly by teachers and industry to help with the delivery of the computer science curriculum. We've seen a large range of cyber activities. And just in Gloucestershire, what we've also done is tried technology drop crates. So this is where we've let schools have access to a range of technology to see if we can map that to the curriculum, and then make recommendations ourselves up to like Department of Education to say, look, if you give schools this money to buy this sort of technology, it makes this part of their computer science curriculum so much more interesting. And kids are getting better grades. We're getting more kids through the system, basically. Okay, next slide. So this slide's probably taken a large amount of my work at the moment. So the Ncce have an I-100 scheme where companies can lend a member of their staff to Ncce for 1 day a week. And as you can see, we've got 3 in Gloucestershire, we have 2 in Wales, and we're starting to develop the north. I've got some in Yorkshire just coming on board yesterday, and I'm looking at all parts of the UK really. And these are keen individuals who work in companies whose job it will be for 1 day a week is to promote and link up schools and industry to make sure that the teachers and the students get the support that industry can provide in making computer science exciting, basically. And there's a range of links there. You can see the Cyber Hub website, which is run by some of the industry 100s and shares a range of things. The current main focus is something called Cyber TV, which is companies are promoting to keep students interested during lockdown, promoting various vlogs and stuff like that on there. And then you can see the Twitter feeds. You can see the sort of stuff that the schools have promoted when the industries have come in and run activities in their schools, or they've gone to industry. So well worth a click on those links. I think that's it. I think my last slide. Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. I have a couple of questions. Just a couple of very quick questions. I've now lost my questions tab, but there we go. Okay. Could you please elaborate the application deadline for the trial phase and what is required?
So the deadline is today, and if you go to the link that I provided, you'll see a huge range of things that are required. Bronze, silver and gold. Obviously you're required to do a lot more at gold than you are at bronze, but for most schools that bronze level entry is probably quite achievable, but you do need to get things like SLT buy-in and actually show a plan of action on how you can progress and develop computer science in your school.
Great. What CPD opportunities are available for computer science teachers apart from Ncce? Are there any cybersecurity opportunities available for teachers?
Yeah, so with the teachers I've worked with, we've seen teachers going on commercial courses, not just those that are educational focused. So you have large commercial providers like SANS and QA Training who will do a course on a technology for you. And we've seen schools putting the cash behind the teachers and giving the teachers the time off to go and do those. But obviously the Ncce program, it's a lot better funded. It all depends on your funding line. With the Ncce program, or you obviously get your time paid for you, the school's reimbursed, your transport costs are covered, all that. And obviously a lot of it now has gone online anyway.
Brilliant. Is there a way to connect with Cyber Schools online to explore more opportunities?
Yeah, there will be. Obviously, we are still going through the application process. We hope to have a range of schools get the award, and I'm sure if you've got interest in connecting with them online, they'll welcome that because they get recognised for their inter-school engagement.
Great. Final question, will applications for schools be available for next year?
Yes, so we're going to roll out to the north in September, but at the same time, what schools in Wales and Gloucestershire will be able to apply again for the second phase, and we expect to go national in March next year, and again we'll just run phases and phases of applications across the country.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Glenn and Patrick, for presenting today. Really impactful, the work that you're doing. And I hope that many of you who have attended today will take advantage of the wonderful competitions and programs that CyberFirst is offering. Just a quick summary. At the end of this session, when we close, a survey will pop up in your browser. Please take a moment to feedback on this session. And if you have comments, please also, as I say, remember to share them on Twitter using the hashtag CAS Virtual 20. Up at 3 o'clock is our final session of the day. I will be joined by Dan Elwick from the Raspberry Pi Foundation. We'll find out more how to start your own code club. Apart from that, I hope to see you at other sessions this week, and please do continue to spread the word. And thank you so much for joining. Glenn, Patrick, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope you all have a great afternoon. Cheerio for now. Thank you.